Well, the calls for full disclosure of the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking investigation are not dying down. Today, Justice Department officials met with Epstein's co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, in Tallahassee, Florida. Maxwell is currently serving 20 years in prison after she was convicted of procuring minors for sex trafficking. Scripps News Group's correspondent Forrest Saunders is live with us from Tallahassee. Forrest, good to see you. Maxwell's lawyers just spoke. What did they have to say?
Yeah, this was just a little over an hour ago at those stairs behind me at the federal courthouse here in Tallahassee. And what they told us, honestly, wasn't a whole lot. It was a very brief statement without a whole lot of context as to what happened in that meeting. But what we did hear from our attorneys is that this was a, quote, productive session. They said that Maxwell basically answered every question truthfully, honestly. But this was a long day. It started early this morning around 9 a.m. That's when attorneys were arriving for all of this. And then it lasted until around 4 p.m. You got the DOJ here as President Donald Trump faces renewed scrutiny over his past ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, Maxwell, of course, is a longtime associate of the disgraced financier. She's currently serving, as you said, a 20-year sentence for allegedly helping sex traffic minors. Now, some believe that she might be able to finger other high-profile co-conspirators. But this all comes after those recent Wall Street Journal reports revealed that Trump's name appears multiple times in the sealed Epstein records, and he's denied wrongdoing. Critics and political analysts, they are telling us that both Trump and Maxwell may now have incentives to keep any damaging information quiet. But what was discussed in this meeting, and if any kind of further plea deal is in the works, remains unclear.
Ms. Maxwell answered every single question. She never stopped. She never invoked a privilege. She never declined to answer. She answered all the questions truthfully, honestly, and to the best of her ability. And that's all the comment we're going to have today about the meeting. We don't want to comment about the substance of the meeting for obvious reasons.
Now, this is far from over, this whole saga over Epstein, because the U.S. House Oversight Chair James Comer just announced on Wednesday that Maxwell will be formally deposed by federal lawmakers right here in Tallahassee at her prison on August 11th. Now, the big question that we have, of course, is how is that going to work, and will we be able to get cameras inside? Because we, of course, would like to know what is said, and that continues to be the issue with this meeting. We didn't know exactly what happened behind closed doors, and we don't know when we will know more.
Hey, Forrest, as you mentioned, Maxwell right now is a pretty popular person. You had Todd, Blanche going down there today, and as you mentioned, Republicans here in Washington also wanting to talk with her. But was there any indication from Maxwell's camp about not only her willingness to participate, but why she spoke with the DOJ today? Is this all about some potential deal, and is there any timeline on when we might know a little bit more?
Well, you have to ask yourself, right, when it comes to an attorney, what is their goal? Well, it's to get the best deal possible for their client. And so that is, again, added a lot of scrutiny, concern about whether or not some kind of deal is in the works between the Justice Department and Maxwell that might potentially exculpate Trump from any further comments. And we just don't know about that. And that's one of the reasons why people continue pushing for answers about this whole case, as well as what happened in the federal courthouse behind me. And we don't know when we might know more. We just know that, Maxwell apparently answered all of those questions. We just don't even know if she was under oath. Is this a formal deposition, or was it just a discussion? Those questions still go unanswered when we talk to her attorneys. In fact, we don't even know if they're going to be back here tomorrow. There was some rumor that maybe there was going to be a second day of discussions, but when we asked David Markus whether or not that was true, he said he couldn't say. So here we are, left with maybe more questions than answers at the end of a very long day in Tallahassee.
All right, much more to come on this. Scripps News Group's correspondent Forrest Saunders in Tallahassee for us. Forrest, thank you.
Of course.